Welcome, 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 welcome. Welcome to part six of a 7-part series on a quick start guide to the practice of Recovery Dharma. What is Recovery Dharma? If you're just randomly stumbling on this video or into this playlist, Recovery Dharma is a Buddhist approach to recovery from addictions of all kinds. So whether you're addicted to drugs, alcohol, or harmful behaviors, Recovery Dharma is where it's at as far as providing you the tools and resources necessary to give you the practices and principles from a Buddhist perspective of what does recovery look like? How do we implement these practices and principles of a 2,600-year-old practice and philosophy to recover from the suffering of addiction of all kinds. So in this video, we're going to talk about the importance of SANGHA, wise friends and mentors. That's right. So without further ado, let's get at it. Okay, so SANGHA, wise friends, and mentors. That's right, mentors. That's the third point. That's what I wanted to remember. So when it comes to SANGHA, wise friends, and mentors, what's the book have to say about it? Because when in doubt, we go to the book. The book says, as far as the practice goes, SANGHA, wise friends, mentors. We cultivate relationships within a recovery community to support our own recovery and the recovery of others. After we have completed significant work on our inquiries, established a meditation practice, and achieved renunciation from our addictive behaviors, we can become mentors to help others on their path to liberation from addiction. Anyone with any period of time of renunciation or practice can be of service to others in their SANGHA. When mentors are not available, a group of wise friends can act as partners in self-inquiry and support each other's practice. That's right, wise friends. Hence the name Wise Friends Network. That's where the name of this channel came from, of the Wise Friends Network, your wise friends in recovery, is that for a lot of us in a lot of parts of the country, we don't have access to mentors. And also, just generally speaking, finding a quality mentor, even if you have people with extended recovery around you, it can be a challenge to find a quality mentor and to find teachers just in general. But what's awesome and what's wonderful and what's beautiful about the Recovery Dharma program, about peer-led recovery programs, is that it's not nearly as difficult to find wise friends. Whether they're in recovery communities or in non-recovery communities. So if there is a Buddhist meditation circle near you, if there's a yoga group, whether in person or online, there's many different avenues of support for us. Now, I happen to be very blessed and very fortunate that in my area over the last 2 years, we've stirred up a number of in-person meetings, and having that in-person support is infinitely helpful. It's infinitely beneficial as far as the whole concept of going to meetings, sharing our stories, hearing the stories of others, and knowing that we're not alone in our suffering and we're not alone in the pain of addiction. And as far as this desire to stop drinking and drugging and or harmful behavior and continuing to do it regardless of the negative consequences to ourselves and to our friends and family and colleagues and coworkers. The beauty of SANGHA and community is that we're able to come together. We're able to, find our tribe, find our people, people who speak our language, hear our language, people who speak from the heart, not from the head, from the heart, and that we're able to share experiences with one another. And that's really the beauty of SANGHA, which is a Buddhist word for community, at least from a Western perspective. From a more traditional perspective, the word SANGHA is reserved for monastics in the Buddhist tradition. But hey, man, we're just trying to stop drinking and drugging here. And for us, in a Buddhist recovery community, I see no issue, and most practitioners in the West don't see any issue of referring to their colleagues who are walking a similar spiritual path of Buddhist practices, of saying, this is our SANGHA, this is our community, this is where we find our help and our support. This is our spiritual community of sorts. So yeah, your local bowling team is not a SANGHA, but where we come together to support one another in our recovery efforts and to do so through the practices and principles of Buddhist philosophy, that would be SANGHA. It's where they arise in tandem for us in Recovery Dharma. Another quote that I like when talking about the concept of Sangha is from Pema Chodron, who comes from more of the Tibetan monk tradition. And she has a beautiful quote that says that the Sangha is a place where we can practice together, share our struggles, and become a community of support. Yeah, it's where we practice together. It's where we share our struggles. It's where we do become a community of support. It's where a Buddhist practice goes from being just words on a page, videos on YouTube, to us interacting with each other. It becomes a living, breathing, a thriving tradition of supporting one another. It's I believe it's the poet Rumi who had the quote of saying that we're all just walking each other home. And if that's inaccurate, I do apologize. But I always like the sentiment of that line that we're all just walking each other home. That it's just a lot of recovery communities is just people helping people. It's me helping you, you helping me. It's us, you helping the next person. It's the beauty and the wonder of recovery communities that so many of these groups are just pure lead. Like this channel is pure lead. I'm just tossing this stuff out there. Hopefully you're finding it of benefit, and hopefully you can share it with somebody else, and then they pay it forward, et cetera, and like ripples on the pond. But the concept of Sangha and community and why is it so important, as I start to wrap up this video of the Quick Start Guide, is that one of my favorite quotes on the importance of Sangha, importance of community, and the importance of coming in together and doing inquiry work and exploring the path together is a quote from Jack Kornfield, who was talking about working with military veterans at one point. And they were military veterans that he was working with who were suffering from PTSD and from a number of other mental health issues from their service in Iraq at the time. And Jack Kornfield has a beautiful quote in one of his books that simply says that true healing rarely happens in isolation. I love that. True healing rarely happens in isolation. And that's why we show up for meetings. It's why we show up for meetings, and it's why we reach out to each other. It's why we open up to one another. It's why we have these shared experiences. It's why we do the inquiry work with one another to share our experiences. It is in fact through our imperfections that we form these deep bonds with each other. It's not through our perfections. It is through our imperfections that we create bonds and connection with one another in recovery communities. If we were all perfect beings, then there'd be no reason for us to come together. So it is because we are imperfect. It is because we have these shared experiences of addiction, of these shared experiences of trying and unsuccessfully stopping or abstaining from harmful behaviors, whether it's drinking, drugging, or some type of process addiction. And again, just to reiterate, you are not alone as you explore the practice and explore this path. There's many paths up the mountain. And the beauty of Recovery Dharma is that we can explore this in Sangha and in community. So, and then as we go along, the big takeaway, I'll close on this, the big takeaway of the concept of Sangha, and this is a principle, is that as we start to heal ourselves, we're able to help others to heal themselves. There's a saying near the end of the Recovery Dharma book that says we can build a home for ourselves, within ourselves, and we can help others to do the same. And I have a friend locally who will lead meditations from time to time, and he'll do a traditional metta meditation of loving kindness, of may we be happy, may we be healthy, may we learn to live with ease. And often he will end his metta practice and his metta meditations with, may our healing be a source of healing for others. And that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing about recovery communities. It's a beautiful thing about Recovery Dharma, is that as we walk this path, and I would say that if you're early on the path, have that as an aspiration, as far as when you set your commitment or set your intention, which ultimately turns into commitment, which turns into determination. Everything that's happened to you up to this moment, it can benefit someone else. And I would encourage you that through this sixth principle of the practice of Sangha, wise friends, and mentors, may your healing be a source of healing for others. So thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. And yeah, in the next video, we'll have our last of the 7-part series called Continual Growth. Continual growth? What's that? You know what? I think I'll explain it in this video right now.